coming into this week, I do have one thing, kind of, that I'm rolling over, and that is starting, ooh, let me throw it around. It's because you're on the volume button. There you go. That was, I'm so proud of you, thank you. The entire time I was reading this, I was basically sitting at my desk. Pause. Sorry, a very large box just got delivered. I think I know what it is, but I'm not sure. And there are construction men outside that just saw me try to get this box inside the door. It was a comedy sketch, let me tell you.
That's the fake one. See?
Christopher! Hi everybody, my name is Kelsey and we're about to get very, very nerdy with week 2, or vlog 2, of Whateverathon. So as you saw last week, I was able to complete a few things. Here's where we're looking at to start the week. We don't have any bingos yet, but we're close in a couple of places, so I'm excited. So coming into this week, I have The Holiday by T.M. Logan. I was not able to actually read it when I was on vacation, but I did technically start it there. So it feels a little, for some reason that feels better to me, but I was able to read it chapter 1, which is a whole 4 pages. This says I was on page 8, but like, it's literally like 4 pages into the book. It's barely anything. This book has like 50 something chapters in it. No, 83. There are 83 chapters in this book. That's not big enough to have that many chapters, but this book is, I forgot what I have it in for. I have it in for a couple of things. I know that I have it in for the prompt for like my team. There's like a few team specific prompts. So for beach readers, one of the themes, or one of the prompts, is a summer thriller, and I saw this somewhere and it looked good, so I picked it up. But I know it fits a couple other things and I can't remember what it is, and now I'm blanking on it. Also it's for less read genre because I don't read thrillers very often. But this follows our main character, Kate, and she goes on vacation with her 4 best friends, their husbands, all of their husbands and all of their children, to Provence? Yes, Provence. And her husband's kind of been a little distant there lately, and while she's there, she discovers that he has been having an affair, and it's with one of these women that she considers friend. So she starts digging a little bit deeper to try to figure out who it is. And on the back here it says, as Kate closes in on the truth, she realizes too late that the stakes are far, far higher than she ever imagined, because someone in the villa is prepared to kill to keep their secret hidden. But I don't have an audiobook of this, so I don't expect to finish this anytime soon. I'm probably going to just read it here and there, which is unfortunate because the only time I have to read physically is right before bed. And reading a thriller right before bed is probably not the best decision, but this is what I'm bringing over for this week. So I will talk to you when I make progress, but it might be one of those things where like in the end of this month I say, hey, I finished it. So we've got that one, and then we also have, I technically started the Sizzle Paradox, which is a book by Lily Minnan, aka Zendaya Minnan, depending on if she is publishing adult or YA. And this is her newest adult book, and it's coming out on June 28th, which is 2 weeks from tomorrow. I love Lily Minnan's last arc, and I was kindly gifted this on NetGalley by the publisher. Like, I didn't even request it because I didn't know it was a thing, and they emailed me and was like, hey, you read the other book, would you like this? And I was like, yes, please. So I need to read this book. I'm so excited about it. And I've read like the first couple of the first couple of sentences. I wish the first couple of chapters. The first couple of sentences, and the first sentence has me immediately hooked. I am so interested. So I have this one on my Kindle, so I'll be reading it here or there. I squeeze in this Paradox before bed instead, but I just wanted to start that one as well. So I have technically started this one, and this one I believe is for different format. That's a prompt, right? Yeah, different format, because it's on my Kindle and I don't read ebooks that often. And then I do need to pick an audiobook, but I don't have one picked yet. But because I have too many options, and I'm trying to figure out what I want to pick up, like what I'm in the mood for, you know? So I'll pick up something and let you know what that is. But that's kind of where we're at this week. I'm not really sure what we're gonna get into as far as reading wise, so I don't know. I have a full work week, so probably not much vlogging until the weekend. That's kind of the plan for the week. I don't know when I'll talk to you, probably Friday, once I've read a few things, and then we'll have a good on weekend. I'm excited. But yeah, here's to the second full week of Whateverathon. I'm excited because I've got some good things. I have some good books that I'm excited about. I thought I'd come on real quick because I haven't talked to you since I think the beginning of this week. This week has been both successful and a flop. Not quite sure how that happens, but it's officially Monday, and as you can see, I am home. We had the day off from work today as like since Juneteenth was yesterday, it's like Juneteenth observed today. So most of the office has off, and it's also my birthday today, so I got my birthday off, which is very exciting. So I'm just gonna chill around the house. I've been a little productive. I've recorded a video, which I needed to do, and I'm just kind of chilling, you know? I do have a couple of updates as far as reading goes, because I have finished 2 things since the beginning of the week. Now, the first one is not really for any prompts. It, I think, was on my personal TBR, if I remember correctly. Let me pull up, pause. So it was on my personal TBR, like my TBR game. It didn't fit really anything, or I didn't have it slated to fit anything for Whateverathon, but it does count towards my goal, so I thought I'd mention it. Plus, I did kind of do one of the non-reading goals while I was reading it, because there's 5 of those. So the one I'm talking about is Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. This one I had in my personal TBR for like, you had to read it in the same place the whole time. So I listened to the audiobook of this at work, basically. I ended up giving this one 4 stars. I don't think it even made it to 4.5, but 4 stars. I really actually quite enjoyed it. Like, there's a lot about this world that is fascinating to me because we follow our main character, who I've forgotten, Elizabeth. So this book follows our main character Elizabeth, who is studying to be, I think it's called a warden, but basically, like, there's all these magical libraries, and then they have grimoires, which are like magical texts that are kind of alive, and so if something happens to them, they can turn into like these monsters, basically. And she has always grown up in the library. She's kind of an orphan. I think she was dropped off as like an infant, and so she's studying to be a warden who's in charge of these libraries. She loves books, she loves everything about them, she just really wants to be part of them. And something happens at the library that she works at, and she ends up getting blamed for it. So she goes kind of on this adventure with this sorcerer who, in the world, she's taught that sorcerers are bad, and they're not really, but she's thought so. She's like terrified to go on this adventure with him, and his name is Nathaniel. And in this world, a sorcerer becomes a sorcerer by binding themselves to a demon. And so they kind of like summon a demon, I guess is the best way to describe it, and then like give a certain amount of years of their life for service, and then when the demon becomes like human, kind of. I mean, not like sometimes they switch forms. It's all dependent upon the demon, but basically, like, you give up a certain amount of years to become, like, to have magical powers. And so it's Nathaniel and his demon, Silas. And Silas is my favorite character in this book. I love him so much. But there's a really interesting conversation in this book of what is right and what is wrong and what is evil. Because, like, Silas is a demon, you know, so like demons are not good, and she's seen him in his pure form a couple of times throughout this book, and he is terrifying. So she like understands that Silas is this really terrible thing if he's ever like released from his boundness to Nathan. Sorry, Nathaniel. He's never called Nathan in the book, but Nathaniel's a long name. All of that to say that, like, she is coming to understand sorcery a bit more. It's her and Nathan going on this adventure. Silas is helping out, and she has this very interesting relationship and conversations throughout the book with Silas on, like, what evil is and, you know, that kind of stuff. But it's basically them trying to figure out what's going on, why she was framed for this, and how to fix whatever this big bad thing that's going to happen is going to be. So your typical YA fantasy stuff. I loved a lot of this book. Again, Silas is my favorite character. I also liked Nathaniel. He is very funny. He's got a lot of like snide remarks that are just fantastic. But my feeling with this is I enjoyed it. I'm never going to read this again. It was fine. I'm probably going to forget what this book's about in like a few days, because like there's nothing particularly memorable. There's nothing particularly like, oh my god, this is my new favorite book of all time. I definitely enjoyed my time reading it, but I could see myself unhauling this relatively soon just because, like, I've read it. It was great. I don't need to see it again. So it got 4 stars because of that. Like, there's a lot about it that I really enjoyed, but again, I feel like it's not going to be crazy memorable. But I watched some sprints while I was reading this, because, well, I didn't watch, so here's the thing. One of the prompts that's like non-bookish is to take part in sprints. Now, I rewatched the ones on Becca's channel. I didn't watch them live. I rewatched bits and pieces of them. So I'm counting that because I did it while I was reading this book. Even though it wasn't live, I still participated in it at a later date. And because this whole readathon is about doing whatever you want, I'm saying that, like, that's what I'm going with here. So yes, that's what I'm going to say with this one, is it didn't fulfill any of the reading prompts, but it did fulfill one of the non-bookish prompts. So I really enjoyed it. Gave it 4 stars. I'm so glad I read this because now it's been on my list forever. And now I can do my 5-star predictions video because, like, this is the one that's been holding out on that one. So yeah, so that's one of the ones. So I'm now 4 books into the month, I think. Like, it's almost over and I've read 4 books. This month is not going well. But then I followed that up with starting and finishing Spy Family Volume 2 last night. There was a soccer game on and I read this book and I finished it and I gave it 4.5 stars. I adore this series so much. This one was less action-packed, I want to say, as the first one. It was more about this girl who's in the school. Maybe I should tell you what this is about if you don't know. This story follows a family of 3 people. We've got a mom, a dad, and a kid. And so the dad is a spy, and he's been sent on this mission to infiltrate this very, very high boarding school. Like, it takes a lot to get into this boarding school. There's a test, there's like 3 different interviews, it's a whole thing. And so he's tasked to get into this boarding school because there's somebody at this boarding school whose kids go to the boarding school, and like he is like a major part in this big political plot that he's trying to basically save the world. It's like this whole East versus West system, and so like both sides of this country are fighting against each other, and so like he's supposed to have ties to everything and like fix stuff. Anyway, so he basically creates this family in the first volume of this girl he picks up at an orphanage who happens to be a telepath. He doesn't know this until later, but like, she's a telepath. And then the woman that he picks to be his wife is like, who kind of done this sham thing, and she's an assassin, but he doesn't know that she's an assassin. The kid does, because the kid can read all the minds, but the main guy, the dad, his name's Twilight, he doesn't know that she's an assassin. And so in the first book, it's him creating this family and getting everything together. And then in this book, it really is Anya, which is this girl, starting at the school, because the dad wants her to be like best friends with his target's son, who's in her class. And so it's her navigating school for the first time and what she needs to do to get to where he needs her to be for this mission. So it's less high stakes in the fact that, like, it's a lot of them just going to classes and her meeting friends and stuff like that. But at the same time, it was so fascinating, and I immediately want to pick up the 3rd one. But what I loved about this book, which I was hoping it was going to do something like this, is at the very, very beginning, it has this page that describes everybody we've met. So like here, it goes through all of our main characters. The mission is right here, so you remember what he's trying to do. And then right here, it basically sums up what's happened so far in the series, basically like in volume 1, so that if you're like me and it's been a few months since you've read it, now you can remember. And I love that they did that because I really needed that. I completely forgot a lot of the characters that were in the story. But all of that to say, this got 4 stars. I really got sucked into the story. I forgot. I mean, seriously, like, I forget how much I enjoy this. Like, I started it and I'm like, this is fine, and then I kept reading, and now I'm sucked in again. So hopefully I can continue with the 3rd episode or the 3rd volume, because this ends on, I mean, I wouldn't say a cliffhanger in the sense of like someone's about to die, like there's a really big bad thing happening, but it does end on a cliffhanger of like, oh, what's gonna happen with this small situation now? And I'm curious to see about that, because we met a character, our mom, her brother shows up, and he is not who he says he is, and so I'm very curious, because there's going to be some conflict there, and I'm curious to see how that works. So I adored this. It got 4.5 stars. I only gave it 4.5 because it took me a while to get into it, but once I was into it, I was obsessed. So yes, I finished this one last night. And those are the 2 books that I have read this week so far. Oh, I forgot to tell you, this one does fit a couple of prompts. So it fits the prompt of under 300 pages, because I think it's about 200. And for recently haul, because I got it in April, I want to say. So that's where I'm at right now. I've started a bunch of other stuff though. So I am in the middle, well, not quite in the middle, but I'm reading Surrender of a Siren by Tessa Dare, which is my Tessa Dare buddy read. I think I'm way ahead of everybody else. I'm on chapter 10 currently, which is about 120 pages in. I read a chunk last night before bed, or listened to the audiobook of a chunk, and so far I'm enjoying it. It is the second in this trilogy. It's her very first trilogy, and I did not like her first book. I thought it was awful, but I'm liking this one. There's nothing spectacular yet, but a lot of the situations that our main female lead gets in, her name's Sophie, she basically runs away from everything and gets on the ship to go away, and she claims that she's a governess, and she and the owner of the ship have attractions, and he just wants her well-being, and they always end up getting in the same situations. So far I've really enjoyed it. I think I'm about 30% according to Goodreads, so I'm not sure when I'll pick this one up. I'm hoping to finish it sometime this upcoming week, but I'm gonna hold off on it and see where everyone else is, so I'm not too far ahead, because I always feel so bad, because I feel like I'm one of the first that always finishes these books. I finish them in like 2 to 3 days, and I try to not do that this time. So I am in the middle of this one, but I probably won't touch that one until next week. And then I'm also currently reading the ARC ebook of the Sizzle Paradox by Lily Menon. This is the one that I want to focus on today, because I have it on my Kindle, and I am just really bad at making time to sit down and read. So I'm hoping that I can use some time today to do that. It's about 11:30 now, so we've got plenty of time left in the day to do stuff, but that's my plan, is hopefully to get a chunk of it done. I think I'm about 15% of the way through, and when I'm reading it, I'm loving it. It follows our 2 main characters, Lyric. Why did I want her name to be Lydia? Lyric and Kian, and they are best friends. They're both in grad school. They're roommates. They've like been with each other forever. And he is like a notorious constant dater. He always is like dating someone. He's always with somebody else, but they're never serious relationships. And she has her whole like PhD is about this thing that she's calling the Sizzle Paradox, and hint the name, and that's basically like what goes into an actual relationship on like this scale. And so she's trying to date people in order to like conclusively find this information, and it's not going her way. And according to the back, now I haven't gotten here yet, but according to the back of the book, or the synopsis of the book, it basically says that like he's gonna help her out by giving her like dating advice and stuff, so that she can actually start getting some of the results that she needs for her thesis. And then of course, because of that, they're gonna fall for each other. So I'm curious about that, because I've loved Lily Menon's works before, and what I've read so far I've loved. They're both so sassy, and just like their inner monologues are great. So I'm reading that one, and then technically I started When We Were Infinite, which is not on any of my Whateverathon lists, but it is for my own personal TBR. I don't know when I'm going to get to this one, so I just thought I'd mention that I've started it, but I've read barely a chapter. So I think I'm in the middle of too many things right now, so I need to chill, and then I'll get back to that one. But that's my very long update right now. As far as today goes, like I mentioned, I recorded a video, which was on my list of things to do. I would like to continue to do some reading, which I mentioned I'd like to do, which is the Sizzle Paradox. If I can get more of that done today, that would be great. Beyond that, that's really my plan. My husband's at work today. He'll be back probably at like 3. I have a call with some of my friends later tonight just to catch up. So a few things here and there, but I think right now what I want to do is, one of the prompts on this list that's non-reading related is a guilty pleasure, no, like a guilt-free activity. That's what it's called, a guilt-free activity. And I have a lot of Carlin Brothers, which is the YouTube channel I love here, on YouTube. They have a lot of theory videos that I've been putting off because I haven't read or watched the movie or whatever it was. So I now have, and so I'm going to go plow through a bunch of those. Just sit and chill and watch them, and I'm very excited about it. I feel like personally attached to them though, because like I used to work with their dad. At like in the news station I used to work at was the news station that he works at, so it's kind of cool, and like I've technically met both of them even though they don't know who I am. Anyway, you didn't need to know any of that information. I'm gonna go plow through a bunch of their videos now because I'm super behind, and finish my coffee and then maybe just chill. I don't know, I'm feeling like doing nothing, you know, like it just feels like a good day to do nothing, so that's my plan. Hello, it's many hours later. This room is a mess. I've been doing just some cleaning up and stuff, some guilty pleasure watching of the YouTube and stuff, but I was able to finally go out and get my Starbucks, my freebie Starbucks drink out. First off, I asked for a grande and they gave me the large. Not complaining, but I needed to share with you. I don't know if you can see it, but the guy wrote "Happy Birthday Queen" on it, and it just made my day, okay? It just made my day. Hello, it is much later, and I just decided to come on here and wrap up this vlog because I've done zero reading today. It was a very kind of chill day. I hung out at home. My husband got home. We did like a celebration birthday dinner. It was great, and I really enjoyed it. He's the sweetest. So yeah, not really any reading done. I might get some reading done tonight before bed, but that's about it. So I decided to go ahead and wrap up this week's vlog here. I got 2 things done this week. Both 4 stars, I think, is what we decided. So Sorcery of Thorns was 4, and then Spy Family Volume 2 was 4.5. So overall, great week, can't complain. But please let me know if you're participating, how your week has gone, or just generally how your reading is going. Please, I would love to know what you're currently reading. Let me know down below. But if you like this video, and I very much hope that you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below if you would like to be part of this awesome growing family. I've also got all my social media down there, as well as fun other bookish links. So don't forget to check all that out, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!